Hello everybody, welcome to another episode on Lone Oak Farms. I got our hired workers spreading fertilizer out here in field 44. So we'll get him productive while we go look at some pictures. And I think I'm going at a pretty low FPS at the moment, which is telling me maybe my computer isn't that adept at recording all this and playing the game at the same time. But you know what? We'll make do anyhow. I was going to head back to our barnyard. We've looked at the barn, we've looked at the shop building kind of over here, and I wanted to explore a little more along here just to show some pictures through this particular area and show you kind of how it appears in real life versus reality. So let's hop out real quick to the pictures. Oh, this is still, let me go back to the game. This is still over here. We'd be looking at this angle here. They have a shed there. They don't have a slurry tank there in real life. Uh, that kind of has some solar panels on it. They store firewood in it, plus all my grandfather's pride and joy back in the day. Uh, some old trailers in here, but yeah, a lot of time this is chock full of firewood and what have you. Looks like they're hauling some out. They kind of store some as a project for our church, and you can see there's some logs back here to saw up. Might be a good mod to install on here that I'm making firewood. So that's what's there in real life instead of the slurry tank. Now we're going alongside the shed, and hopefully everybody can kind of see the orientation of it here. If we go back in game, that would be slipping kind of alongside here. I think I mentioned when I was a kid, this was all open. It had support in there, but they since have beefed it up. Concrete floor in there. It was just gravel when I was a kid. Maybe we can tell by the pictures. Oh yeah, yeah, they've fully poured a floor in there, stem walls, so they can. Well, would you look at that? My computer just doesn't want to run this. I guess it's getting tired. So there's a concrete floor in there so they can store bulk seed in here on occasion. Plus they bring out clean seed in pallets to store it in here. This, I can't even tell what it is. It looks like firewood. I'm guessing that's what that is. Yeah, it's a little bit whiter there. Oh, and here's a seed drill. I think I've mentioned the seed drill a few times. Maybe someone knows. I could probably look it up somewhere and see what model this is. Just a humble John Deere seeder, ground driven. It's got a little bit of hydraulics and whatnot on it, but it's otherwise ground driven. Um, and have spent time on it, standing on the back of it, pushing seeds into holes and making sure it was going, but not near as much time as my uncles, of course, using it. I think they still use it to this day. Actually, I see it here now. I know they still have it, or did a couple of years ago when I took this picture. But I do wonder if they're using something larger. Maybe not. I mean, it's surprising how many acres you can go over once the field is prepared and you're kind of ready to plant it with something like this. Here's kind of a fuel depot, and maybe what I could do, rather than going in game, which seems to kill the picture, is I'll just move from over here, kind of come into the map editor. We're kind of looking in this part of the shed right here. Now this is something that wasn't there when I worked on the farm, namely this whole tank setup. Um, I think in another video I pointed out where the tanks used to be, which is kind of right up here by this tree. Now they have it in here, and I think it's an open shed, so it isn't exactly secure, but they do have a hole kind of in it over there. This is a unique model made, I believe, by Oxygen David or Lone Wolf to help Bullet Bill as he made the map. I mean, it's a unique building to the area, and any number of farms could have the same kind of a thing. So I mean, even this forklift container here containing who knows what, maybe it's oil, maybe motor oil, who knows what's in there. They even duplicated that by setting one of those here. So all these reference pictures and photos, they tried to put various things in here for realism. But yeah, they store a lot of diesel in here. I think there's two tanks. One is for regular farm diesel, and the other is for road diesel. There's a tax that they put on diesel when you drive on the roads, and if they recognize if you're just doing farm use and all you're doing is driving this heavy machinery mainly out on the fields versus using the roads, they don't affix a tax. Well, probably has some taxes to it, but not as much as if you were driving it on the road. So this is kind of where they have that. And yeah, there's the access port kind of in the side of the building over there. Maybe I have another one kind of more straight on. Oh, okay, there it is. Yeah, there's two tanks. I guess they're both. Yeah, okay, so road diesel, that's probably this one here. Well, no, that's on-road diesel. Who knows? One of them is going to have road diesel, the other's going to have farm diesel. And maybe both of these are, well, who knows? I don't need to speculate over it here and bore everybody to tears, but that's where the sauce is for all the machinery. Kind of storing it through a porthole in the building here, and uh, Bullet Bill had that duplicated in the map. There's another one here. Now, is this gas maybe? You know, on the farm we did have, there was a gas tank in there, so where you could put gas. Some of the equipment used gas, but I think by and large now all the equipment uses diesel. I don't know if that's gas or not. It may be for some of their family cars, but all the way down to the pickup trucks in the past used diesel. But they did have a couple pieces of machinery that used gas, namely the windrowers that they had up there for a while. They were self-propelled, John Deere 800, 830, something like that, that were gas powered. They've had a couple tractors up there that were really old. Like I know there was a John Deere 40 that we had up on the farm. I think that was gas powered. You know, there's occasionally just a few items that, you know, took gas for fuel. So don't know if they have any there now. Doesn't really matter. That's kind of where the fuel depot is, what it looks like in real life. And, you know, you may wonder why I took a picture of the tin work. Part of my reason for it was to have an up close coloring, if you will, what it looked like so that whoever was making the model, if they wanted to duplicate what the tin looked like, well, I figured I would take a close-up picture. I try to get them whatever they may want if they were going to try to duplicate these buildings. You know, I'm kind of curious, did they put a light on the side of the building? No, they chose, well, it's up here. I guess it's up here. They did put in this other window, which is just amazing attention to detail. I probably would have just put this big window here and not bothered with it, but they put in both. So yeah, it looks like there is a light up there, just kind of like there is in real life up here. Not quite as high, but same difference. Then this is looking towards, in the map, there would be all of these this is kind of where it's looking in the map. You got this power pole here and these grain bins. And in real life, there is no grain bins. I know I've mentioned that before. There isn't this gizmo over here either. What there is a warehouse, and we'll just see the picture of it. We kind of see the end of it. I have a vague memory as a kid, back probably 1980, 1979, I don't remember. I have a memory of a kid coming up here, and there was no building here yet. All there was a big old foundation. And I remember coming down here with some of my uncles who were really young at the time, but obviously older than I was, and they probably didn't want to have a tag-along kid. But I remember they had this skateboard, and I remember sliding around as a kid on the concrete, never realizing what was coming was a full-on seed cleaning facility, whereas in the past they handled everything that went on in here they handled over in that old barn, which we looked at in a previous video. So, kind of looking down there, let's just keep going on these pictures. I don't know where. Okay, now this is turning kitty corner to this shed over here. That power pole was right over there. So let me hop in here and kind of give you the reference spots, or standing right about here. I believe this is where they store their combines. Back when I worked on the farm, it was just a regular pole building. It didn't even have doors on it, as I recall, and it was just gravel floor. And we parked 3 combines in here, and now I think it's full on concrete in there. Maybe I opened it up, and I believe they store the combines in there. So that's kind of what it looks like in real life. And look at that. I mean, this, again, attention to detail with the guys that made the map. This door has seen its better days and has obviously got a bunch of rust on it. Props for attempting to duplicate it. Wherever the water hits it funny, it appears, there's rust, and they tried to build that into the model itself. This is looking over to the new shop. I think everybody recognizes that. That's kind of what it looks like in real life. I'd be curious, did he duplicate all those windows? I bet he did. There's 6 of them. Let's just go take a peek. Look at that. 6 windows. Just like in real life. We're going to hop in game real quick. I want to make sure our... Oh, he's already finished. So, let's make sure he did what he was supposed to do. Yep, it appears he did. Why don't I just save real quick? And of course, he is about out. So I'm going to kick the course off. We're going to go refill. I'm sorry if this is painful to watch. I am seeing the limitations of my computer here as I record this. Hopefully it doesn't crack up on me as in the middle of recording. That would kind of be a bad thing. I don't think I have a very good FPS at the moment. I can just tell when I'm kind of too scared to even show it on the screen. It's probably not what I would like it to be. So let me hop over here and fill up with sauce. And I would say the fertilization and the spray, the chemical application, all that part, that is an area of the farm I never really was involved with. That's something they tended to do before and after we worked there kind of over the summer. So I never really got involved with that. I mean, we'd occasionally do something like fertilize the yard or whatever, but big deal. So the stuff that went on in the fields, I wasn't a part of that aspect, and frankly, you need some experience in doing that. That isn't just something you hand off to any lackey to apply chemical to a field, because obviously you want to have it done right. Let me come borrow a little bit more on my line of credit. Head out here. I just filled it up. I know we're going to be doing this again, so yep, there's a cost of fertilizer. Set up the course last time. Maybe? Get out of the trees here a little bit. We'll do this one more time. Field 30. Ooh, I was already on 35. Set that up. And we'll send him to first waypoint. He ends up driving a little bit off target, but that's alright. He'll get close enough for what we need. Just want to try to have as best crop as we can possible. We'll head back to here in our pictures. Not sure where I went from here. This is just kind of showing a close-up of the boulders there. And, boulders are different. There are some that are so bloomin' hard, you can't do anything with them. I mean, you could blow them up with dynamite, but most of the rocks that we had in the field were of the soft rock variety. And don't get me wrong, I mean, they were hard enough that if you hit them with the machinery, you would damage them. But I think all of these rocks you see somewhere down the line were either pulled out of a field somewhere or came off the property if they were doing some excavation in a particular part of it for a building project. They're just all over lurking under the soil. But most of them, I'm not saying you could crack these rocks, with a ball peen hammer, but or even a sledgehammer unless you hit it exactly right. But if you worked on it long enough, you probably could split it in two. This one here looks like you wouldn't be able to split it as easy, but you can even see over here, these are broken rocks. So that's just kind of the nature of the beast. Occasionally you'd be surprised how easily one of these would bust. But I mainly wanted to show these just for Bullet Bill to kind of get an idea as to the colors of the soil. The dirt in this area is kind of this color here. I maybe have a picture of it here at some point. It's we call it red dirt. Down in the valley, if you go 7, 8, 9 miles to the west of here, kind of over this hill down in the valley, the dirt is black and it's much richer down there, dark dirt. Up here, it's a lot more clay type of soil. Somewhere I have a soil map. I think you can look up the names of it. I don't remember them off the top of my head, but it just looks red. And even though it doesn't look as good as the dirt down in the valleys, they say it could still raise a good crop of grass, no problem, and many other things. Oh, what's this? Oh, I must have got a close-up of the tin work. Once again, just to provide a frame of reference for, I believe it was Oxygen David who made this particular model. So, I think I maybe took that picture. I seem to recall it was right up against here. So how did he do? I think that's pretty dang good. So once again, it was just to give him a frame of reference so he knew depending on how tight he wanted to make it, kind of what it looked like in real life. It's kind of kitty corner on the building. So we've all seen this, I think, in the map. You can look at it kind of this angle. In game, I think I have the doors open. Go back here and see. Yep, there's the yellow sticks, as I heard someone call them one time. I really don't know what they're called in real life. I don't recall. There's probably some technical term for them. Barriers to preserve your doorways. So if you accidentally move the equipment that you take through those doors in the wrong direction by more than a few inches, it'll preserve your door so you don't have to replace all that. Another picture of the shop building. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's a super close up of the tin. That must be what it was. So, and I know I've occasionally been asked, maybe it was in the other one where someone asked what kind of implements they pull. Well, at the time it'd be some of these over here, although that doesn't look as wide. I wonder if that's a chisel plow. That has some larger shanks. So some of their implements are here. They just keep them outdoors in the rain. There's some stored here, and then some stored on the far side over, kind of over here. Along this edge over here, they store a lot of equipment kind of over into here. So once again, I don't want to bore people to tears looking at all this. I'll maybe head back in the game. We'll see kind of how our workers doing. Oh boy, you know what? I'm gonna look. Whoa, that is just abysmal. Am I hitting an error? No. There's a woman. That must be the woman's fault. We can always blame the women, right? I don't know where the women are walking, but that is a horrible frame rate, so no wonder things have kind of ground to a halt in here. So maybe what I need to do is be straight up. That at least gives me that much. That is just terrible. That is just terrible. And I'm not sure why. Most of the time, it could be because I'm recording at the same time. What I also have going on is I'm uploading these videos to the internet. I don't know if that makes any difference at all. Maybe, you know what it might be? I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to close this down. I'm going to close down my picture software here. We'll see if that helped a bit. Yeah, whopping 12 FPS. Well, I spoke too soon. Well, I'll try to survive through here till we kind of get through the end of this video. This field out here, next to all of this, I think I've commented that before we had the shop here, before there was those other buildings down there, this was all an open field. It was farmed all the way through, and wait as you come over here, if I get out of here, my FPS just improved. Well, look at that. Evidently, riding along with equipment harms your FPS. Who knew? But this all was farmed, and even once they put the building out here for a while, even this little section was still farmed. And at some point, I have some overhead pictures taken out of a plane that kind of show this whole area before all these buildings and everything was over here. Years ago, this was all field over here, and kind of where the road is where the farm was. Everything kind of to the south of the road. But now it's based on their size, they've needed more space, so they've kind of gone across the road and taken up space where it's needed. Let me look inside these buildings real quick. I think you can open the door. Maybe there's a particular spot you gotta be. Ah, there we go. Oh, I love that. Even noise opening the doors. That's sweet. Yeah, so in real life, there's more doors. You can basically open the whole thing, and I think this is where they store their combines. And they also use it to store bulk seed. You know, when the combines are out of here, working the harvest and whatnot, you know, they're able to store seed in here. And so, if this is where the combine is, let's just hop over to our combine, and we'll go store this in the proper place, huh? We can at least do some things kind of according to realism here. And I'm looking forward to using this little combine again. It's a great little mod. Even though it isn't... Oh, hit the building, but we don't have a damage mod in here. I'm using the damage mod in FS15, and boy, it's kicking my rear. Especially when I use horseplay. We'll drop that here. I'm going to go get the other header. And we'll bring it over here. Like I mentioned, in real life, they harvest primarily grass, so not even that much wheat, but they do have a wheat header for their combines out. I don't know if anybody noticed that, by the way, heading into the building. Obviously, in real life, you would never come up to a header like that cockeyed, but good old game will let you get away with it. I want to show you something. When we were coming over to the building, turn around behind, Watch, and the windrower in there will disappear. That self-propelled windrower. And look at that. That's a really cool script that, what was it, Ian898 made. And the whole point of it is to save resources. I don't know if any of you have ever noticed, but when you have a whole lot of equipment stacked up in your barnyard, it can be very resource intensive. Your FPS can drop. And so to kind of avoid some of that, what Ian did with the script, and it appears it was built into the map. Now, he either put it here, or at some point I put it on there, but he's the one that wrote it and made it work. He kind of put a trigger or something like that inside a building, and I don't know if this particular building has one. I just don't recall. I'll get that on there. Turn it off. Let me get it out. Come out of this building and kind of look behind me as we go. No, it doesn't appear like it was on that building. So, but it's pretty handy. And the only downside is you know, when you're out here, when you back up far enough away, that equipment's going to disappear. You know it's in there, but you can't see it. So the idea is, because the way the game works is to render, like see that tractor that just went by out there in the field? That takes computing power so that we can see it at the player position where we're standing. Well, it takes computing power too to render these pieces of equipment in the building, even when they're just sitting there. Well, if they're just sitting there doing nothing, there are certain areas where you don't need to see it. And who's going to be standing at this angle and expect to see something in there? You just don't need to. The only time you notice it is if you happen to be here and backed up. So it's kind of a cool script, but if you're just milling around, you'll see it there in there like it is. But the whole idea was to save gaming resources, which is what he did. And speaking of that, what else is in here that maybe needs to move? Yeah, maybe we can just leave it in here. I guess it doesn't hurt anything, right? So meanwhile, our tractor's out there finishing the next level of fertilization. And what it may mean is we need to fast forward to another day. I changed my season cycle down to 3 days. So I really don't know that there's too much to do. I haven't purchased any animals. All we have is 3 fields. So there just isn't a huge amount to do because, I mean, look at it here. He's almost done with field number 35 again, and then we'll be waiting to hit it one more time with fertilizer, and I think we need to advance another day in order to do it. So we're just not quite ready there. Maybe what I'll do, I think I can fly. I'll turn that off. Wait, no, I can just fly. Let's fly up in the air. We'll see if we can catch him kind of over there. Just admire the scene. That'll give me one more thumbnail for this video. Actually, can I set the... There's all these tricks Eustace Farmer taught me. He said put it on FOV 30. Well, okay, it's FOV 30. Zap a picture there. Turn it back to what we did have. All these different angles. I don't know how to take a picture. You can probably tell in the pictures that I'm showing you. They obviously aren't done by a professional. Probably taken at the wrong angles. But hopefully you see the heart of a family farm kind of coming through. It is what it is. I don't think anybody would ever claim it's the most efficient, the best farm in the world. But I might. I mean, it's family. It's where I got a lot of memories and where I had a lot of good times. So let me go hop into our tractor here. Done with this job, and I think we're towards the end of another video here. I'll just go park it, and we'll call it good. Oh, come on, this is painful. Wow. Maybe I need to reboot my computer more frequently or something. Clean some clutter out. I don't think I have too many things open at the moment, but maybe I do. This is just an abysmal frame rate, so I apologize for that. I'm not even popping any errors that I'm aware of, so a lot of times, when I've noticed a game bogged down, I can open my log and there's something chattering away in there that is draining a lot of computing power. That doesn't seem to be the case this time. So, well, I think I'll call the episode there. Once again, thank you for joining me on here for a few moments of your day. I hope you enjoyed the episode, learned a little bit more about Lone Oak Farms, and I will see you in the next one. Take care for now, and talk to you soon.